So Terence Crawford went on the Ariel Helwani show following his win over Canelo Alvarez this past Saturday, a very monumental win that puts him in the names of some of the greatest boxers of all time. I have some timestamps that I already lost. There they are. To go over, but I highly recommend you go watch this full video. We're obviously gonna talk mainly about him, giving his thoughts on a fight with Ilia Topuria near the end of this interview. But I want to start off at 3 minutes here.
Those two moments, was definitely special in my career.
What about that sentiment that I was just talking about, the validation, because it was well
I'll back
documented.
it up a
You know,
bit more so you get the start of the
Special
question.
to me, that moment, I I don't know. This moment was huge, but it's something about that first one that, feeling that, this little poor kid from Omaha, Nebraska, you know, set his sights out to be a world champion and had to travel all across, the world to go become world champion. In one night, he all his dreams came true. So, those two moments, was definitely special in my career.
what about that sentiment that I was just talking about, the validation, because it was well documented. When you left Top Rank, there were things said. You were not getting the fights that you wanted. You weren't getting promoted the way in which you thought you should be promoted. Did you feel like Saturday was validation? Was the opportunity to prove everyone wrong and to prove yourself right? And do you think you successfully did that?
Absolutely, absolutely, and in all areas. You know, to be a fighter that they say can't sell or they lose money on, and they say don't have no personality, and they try to hurt your career by saying these things. It definitely was a great feeling to see the turnout. You know, and see all the supporters for both fighters, and the history making numbers. Uh, for sure, it definitely was a great feeling.
Did you use that sentiment as fuel?
So, what it says right there about like validation, and obviously boxing is much different than MMA. We have so many organizations, we have so many weight classes, so many belts, all this stuff. But when you look at the, I gotta move my chair closer. I don't know why. Oh, what? Whatever. Um, when you look at boxing compared to MMA, or MMA, there's a lot more excitement. There's a lot more elements to it. With boxing, you're watching it for the sweet sounds, right? You're watching it for the combinations, for more of the chess match than you see in MMA. And in order to get validation in boxing, these guys need to win 20, 30, 40 fights. If they lose one fight, you know, a lot of that validation goes out the window. And I think that's very unfair because you know, what use is it to beat 20 guys nobody has ever heard of instead of losing to two or three guys that are big names around the time where you make it to the top, right? Um, I want to play a little bit more of this clip, make sure I didn't miss anything, and then we will move on 30 seconds ahead.
In the build up to the fight? I'm going to show these guys.
Yeah, alright. We then go to 4:45. I'll go to 40, I guess.
Trying to put this narrative out in the air that it's not possible, that it can't be done. Nobody's never done it before. Uh, the bigger man always beat the smaller man. So I remember telling Max, I said, who came up with that? In my eyes, the smaller man always win.
Oh, he was cooking right there. We'll get him in a second here. Did we lose him? Okay.
I think he comes back here and
This was repeated time and again throughout the fight week. And he proved that that's not the case. It's time like he didn't want to take this fight. And like I said,
he continues to point. That's what I'm trying to
higher than
record.
most, if not anyone
Where he
in the
comes
game.
back here.
Canelo can now go out and do whatever he wants because he's not tied to the belts. Let's go back to Terrence. There he is.
Which
And quite honestly, Canelo, not a never was, shot done. Of course he was. But quite honestly, Canelo can now go out and do whatever he wants because he's not tied to the belts. Let's go back to Terrence. There.
which is something you have to talk about. Like, again, this is not something where losing to Terence Crawford takes away from Canelo's legacy. It only adds to Canelo's legacy. But Crawford is about to continue the point he was making before.
There he is. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
You were cooking there for a second about the thought of the smaller guys not being able to beat the bigger guys, and then we lost you.
Yeah, I was just, referring to when I had a conversation with Mac earlier this week. I said, who came up with that? He said, I don't know. I said, right. I said, everybody just listening to everybody. They just copy and pasting. And they just running with this narrative that the great big man always beat the great little man. I'm like, can we look at history when we look at all these great fighters that moved up in weight, and it was smaller guys that went into bigger divisions and beat the bigger guy, So, I just think that people just hear things and they just run with it and they don't do their research.
Can I ask how?
And that's something, again, too. We're going to talk about Ilia Topuria here, who just moved up from featherweight to lightweight and knocked out Oliveira. Very impressively. Again, nobody has ever finished Oliveira the way that Ilia did it. Many people have finished Oliveira, nowhere near that horrifically. And with Ilia Topuria moving to 155, the rumor is that he's supposed to fight Justin Gaethje rather soon here. We'll see if that happens or not. I really want him to defend the 155-pound title at least once before fighting Islam, whether it is at 155 or not. I really think it's important he gets an extra fight in at the end of the year, but it's not looking good on that front. But for Terence Crawford winning this fight, boxing is having a really big boom. A lot of these other organizations are having a lot of success. Misfits, even though it's not, high profile boxing, it's generating a lot of eyes. Darren Till has made himself a superstar over there. He's gonna fight Andrew Tate, the biggest internet personality ever, right? Terence Crawford beating Canelo here. He is on the other side. He guarantees himself that he will be one of the main guys people are looking at moving forward.
How much do you think, or maybe you know the answer to this, how much did you weigh on Saturday night?
We don't need to know that. We then go on to 9. To 9:15. My mark is at 9:20.
That decision, and then we're going to come back to you.
Yeah, you were asked in the post-fight press conference, or not the press conference in the ring, which kind of surprised me because the thought didn't even cross my mind, if this was possibly the final fight of your career. And to me, like, I know you just conquered a great mountain, but you're so freaking hot and so good right now. Why would you walk away now? Can you say definitively that you will fight again?
I don't know.
Really? It's still up in the air?
Still up in there.
Wow, there is a chance that was your final fight.
Could be.
Are you just
Could.
playing coy with us right now?
I'm just saying it could be. It may not be. You know, I don't want to say, that it is and it ain't. I don't want to say it ain't that it is.
See, you get a lot.
Very, very smart. That is a fighter that knows the leverage he just got. He knows that anybody in the boxing scene, again, it's not dominated by just Dana White. He has other options. He is he is basically in the same position as Max Holloway. That's the best way I can put it. He goes out, he beats Canelo, he becomes a major star. He did win the title, but again, it doesn't matter where he fights. He will be the main attraction, if if not the second biggest attraction on any card that he is on. But we move on.
A lot of respect and love for being a great boxer, great IQ. I don't know if you get the respect that you deserve for being a great businessman, because this is Terrence.
Businessman 100%. I just credit him on that. My next one I want to go to is 1250. We'll go to 12. Before 1240, just to be safe. I I need to start putting notes on my timestamps, dude. I'm horrific for this.
To dissect it all, to digest it all. And then you have to go back out there. That clip of him nailing Canelo with the shot and then Canelo making that face, like, what the hell? How am I supposed to react?
Yeah,
He's back.
He kept cutting out, too.
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying this is like fighting you. Like you have to fight through the elements, for 3 minutes and then take a minute to digest it all. He said afterwards, you are better than Floyd Mayweather, and I know you don't like those comparisons. I know you don't like when people pitch you two together. But when you heard that, what did you think? How did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, I don't know, I don't go off of that. Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight, I always loved.
So, alright, the question about him versus Floyd, it is very difficult. Because when you talk about Floyd, you need to talk about both elements. You need to talk about business-wise, nobody will ever do what he has done in boxing. There's no fucking way he holds every one of the highest gates in boxing history. He makes all his money, and even when he goes bankrupt, which, by the way, when a celebrity goes bankrupt, they know what they're doing. That does not mean they have no money. That means they're being smart with their money. And I don't think that anybody, not even Conor, could do what Floyd has done inside of boxing at the level he's done it, at the consistency and the longevity that he's done it for. Like, again, he's been around since what, late 90s, early 90s, around there, and Floyd is still the biggest thing. He's, he's fucking, he's fighting fucking Mike Tyson, apparently in spring next year. But let's continue the clip.
Of watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
I guess you don't have to really play this. And then the meat and potatoes, the moment you've been waiting for. We have to go to 550 once again. I'll go a few seconds ahead of the clip. This is where he starts to talk about Ilia Topuria and the potential of facing him inside the boxing ring. And again, this is showing you his fight IQ. He knows exactly what he is doing here.
From fishing, a dirt bike ride, a four-wheeler, it didn't matter what it was. He was always, by my side. I was always by his side.
I love that he's always there as a part of the entourage. I'll ask you one more thing and then let you go. One more topic. Obviously, we're paying close attention to you and Ilia Topuria, the back and forth, the tweets, and then you walk out to the song that he usually walks out to. You were asked about it. He then responded yesterday via Twitter to you walking out to the song that he usually walks out to. And I know that you were asked about this, but this was his response. First, he calls me drunk. Then he walks out to my song, Crawford. Whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance the mariachi in the ring, and Canelo will save you a round after him. Honestly, you walking out to his song, did you not know that was the song he always walks out to?
To be honest, I never even seen this dude fight. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not worried about that guy at all. It's crazy how things work. I didn't even know who he was. When he seen me at the UFC, he came up and shook my hand saying, "What's up?" to me. I didn't even know who he was, but then I see him online talking about he had knocked me out in the first round and this and that.
Which again, I believe because hey, the CEO of the UFC is promoting boxing now, and he hasn't really promoted a single fight. Really all year. The most promoted fight we have had all year was John Silva and Bryce Mitchell, and that was an entirely led fan movement in which we hyped up that fight. So, I'm not going to hold it against Crawford. Again, though, I think he's being coy. I think he knows what he is doing here, and he's baiting the engagement for this fight.
Well, if you want to fight me, you had the opportunity to tell me, like, hey, man, I want to fight you. What's up? Like, that's fake. If I don't like somebody, if I want to fight them for whatever reason, I would have been like, hey, what's up, man? What you think about me and you fighting? I'm not going to go hide behind, the keyboard and things like that. And then be like, oh, I knocked this dude out, this and that, and this. I think that's fake.
Do you think he actually wants to fight you, or do you think, as the kids would say, he's just trying to clout chase?
I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. I think he'll definitely get in the ring with me for the right check. That's what we all do it for. But at the same time, I think, he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what he thinking this way. I will. Ain't even nothing to talk about.
Do you, now that this has become a thing and you see the interest, do you have interest in fighting him?
Dude, he's doing everything he needs to do. Again, why can't more fighters be doing this? Why can't more fighters catch on to these little things? It's not about discrediting your opponent. It's about doing it in a way in which you won't bait the fans to engage with what you're saying, call you a chicken, whatever it may be, and that will create more hype down the road for this fight. Whether it happens or not, he can still make money off of promoting this fight, making posts about this, going on interviews, etc.
For what?
Money.
Listen, what money would I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
Well, I know Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never.
Conor did sell more than him. Conor was a better character than Ilia. I will never dispute that. However, this is kind of like the Wayne Gretzky Ovechkin debate. This is the LeBron Michael Jordan debate. To do what he is doing in his era, where again Dana White isn't promoting jack shit anymore. It is like the UFC just has AI generate all of their, fight announcements, and they hold Dana White hostage every few weeks on Instagram Live. Ilia Topuria has charisma. He has the striking. He has the best boxing fundamentals I've ever seen in my 16 years, 17 years, however long it truly has been watching this sport. I've never seen the boxing fundamentals he has. Now, I'm going to leave this interview because, frankly, this video is getting long. Ilia Topuria responded to this. He says, while responding to him using a song, Ariel played this in his video. First he calls me drunk, then he walks out to my song. Crawford, whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance that mariachi in the ring. And Canelo, I'll save you a round after him. Now, I've already made so many videos talking about, alright, Ilia Topuria already said, I'm retiring from MMA at 30. I'm going to boxing. He said it multiple times. It's exactly what he's doing, and I don't blame him for it. As much as I would love for him to stay in MMA, I totally get it. The money's over there. And again, he's on the best 3-fight win streak I've ever seen in the UFC. Knocking out Volk, knocking out Max, knocking out Oliveira for the lightweight bout. And now he's either going to fight Gaethje or he's going to face Islam Makhachev. Which if you can have those 4 names in a row, nobody will ever have that kind of win streak in their entire career. I do not think that this is something we will ever see in the sport of MMA ever again. We have Hamza Ismail. We have undefeated fighters. We've seen undefeated champions. I have never seen Ilia Topuria and somebody like him who has, he comes from money. He knows the fight game. He is trained in every single discipline he needs to. He went into Oliveira's guard in his last fight, which not even Makachev kind of did, but didn't at the same time. This is a different breed. This guy, he's already talking about running for president of Spain. If he stays out of trouble, if he is able to not follow the exact path Conor did, this guy can go down as the biggest figure in MMA, the biggest figure in combat sports. I really do believe it. Conor McGregor maybe would be the funnier character. I think Ilia Topuria is the smarter one. I think that this guy, people still don't give him enough credit for what he does. And he's tying himself to the guy who just beat Canelo Alvarez. I know people did it. It was under Zuffa Boxing, which, again, this is what Dana White has been wanting to do for quite some time. You look at Terence Crawford, nothing but knockouts, has been a machine ever since debuting in 2008. But yeah, This is going to be very interesting. Once again, congratulations to Terence Crawford on a phenomenal victory. You can say whatever you want about Canelo Alvarez being out of his prime or not. That was a spectacular fight. I would completely disagree with you that Canelo is out of his prime. Even if he is, he's still one of the greatest boxers to ever do it. Um, but yeah, man. Ilia Topuria he's so ahead of the fight game. And he's making it more apparent each day, each week. I really want to see him at the end of the year. Let's get him against Gaethje, I guess, in December. And let's get prepared for him versus Makachev. Um, at the July 4th card. Maybe in June, whenever this big White House card will go down. But let me know, what did you think about this Terence Crawford interview? What do you think about him facing Ilia Topuria? Is there something you want to see? And do you think the boxing transition for Ilia Topuria is inevitable? And can he do it better than Conor did it? I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching. Later.